Good morning, one and all. This is Divya, Assistant Professor, Bharat Institute of Law. In this video lecture, I'm going to discuss about the approval, licensing, and registration of the factories under the Factories Act 1948. In this session, I'll be discussing what is the applicability of this act, along with that, the approval, licensing, and registration of the factories with its procedure and the documents that has to be enclosed, and who is the authority under this act. Factories Act. It provides a safeguard to the health, safety, and welfare of the workers. And also, it imposes certain obligation upon the owner to protect the safety, health, and welfare measures of the workers, so that the workers will not be exploited by the management, and also they'll be given proper safety and welfare measures. Safety in the sense, these workers are being working in the hazardous process means they have to be given proper safety things or equipments in order to protect them. For example, in a chemical substance exposing factories, they have to be given proper gloves, helmet, or certain substance which would be protecting them from the exposure of those chemical substance. So these are all some of the things that has to be seen for the welfare of the workers. Next is, it is a remedial and a beneficial legislation for the workers. This act would be promoting the working condition of the employees. That is, the proper working condition is being defined in beforehand. Their working hours, how many hours they have to work, and what is their work would be, and the medical examination will be taken periodically, so that in order to find how they are being exposed to this manufacturing process, if they have any occupational disease or not, in what way they can be given, they can be compensated. So all these things is defined properly in a beforehand, and what kind of work they have, they'll be working will be properly explained to them. In order to enhance the skill for them to work in such a manufacturing process, they'll be having certain programs to enhance their skills also. So this Factories Act will be safeguarding the health related thing. For example, health in the sense, in case if any person is being affected by any occupational disease, or if any accident has been taken place in the workplace, so such person will be treated by the money or the fund that has been given by the management side. And also safety related and welfare related in the sense, they'll be having proper amenity and proper environment to work, and proper sanitized place to work. So these things has to be given for a person to work comfortably in the workplace. So the Factories Act gives all sorts of comfortability for the workers. So this act consists of 120 sections and 11 chapters and 3 schedules. Next, we'll see what is the applicability of this act. So any manufacturing process which takes place with or without the aid of power there must be certain amount of in the preceding 12 months. So in any workplace which has been undergoing a manufacturing process, if there is 10 or more workman means they'll be working with the aid of power means that for that sorts of factories, this Factories Act will be applicable. And another category is that if there are 20 or more members have been working in a factory, and they are working without the aid of power means that sort of factories will be coming under this category. So this is the second category. And third is the notified factories. This is a certain kind of exempted factories, like if the members are less than 10 but they are working with the aid of power, and if the members are less than 20 but they are working without the aid of power, so this kind of exempted factories will be coming under a category called the notified factories. So for all these factories, this Factory Act will be applicable. So this is what the applicability of this act. Next, we'll see what is the non-applicability of this act. In certain manufacturing process, those certain kind of manufacturing thing, that is a production of certain thing, will be taken place, but this Factories Act is not applicable to those places, since they will be having certain other rules and regulations to regulate them. So such non-applicability or non-applied factories or mines, mobile units of armed forces, restaurants, railway running sheds, and the fifth thing is hotels. So for all these things, they'll be doing certain kind of processes. They'll be having workmans and they'll be doing certain manufacturing process. But even though they'll not be coming under this Factories Act, and the rules and regulations and the authority under this act will not be applicable to these sorts of places. This is what the non-applicability of the act. Next is approval, licensing and registration of the factories, which is explained under section 6 of this act. The first and foremost thing is, to the competent authority, to the person, they have to submit a complete information about their factory for getting approval. Like what plan they are, what structure they are going to construct, and what kind of manufacturing process they have willing to undertake, and what how much amount of power they'll be using for this, and how many people they'll be employing for this kind of manufacturing process. So each and every details has to be mentioned, what kind of machinery they'll be using, and whether it is imported machinery or whatever it is. So every information has to be, the complete plan of the business must be given to the chief inspector. So this is what this is the competent authority who would be giving approval or licensing, or for registration he will be issuing the certificate. So to this person they have to give all the information, or to the state government. If a chief inspector is not being appointed, in the sense they'll be giving the same information to the state government, or the state government will be appointing this chief inspector for this purpose. Next thing is, in case if they are willing to replace any site, or if they are willing to replace any machinery or plant, whatever it is, they have to get a prior permission from the this authority, and for the same they have to get a proper permission from this authority to make any replacement or any change in your factory. So everything has to be intimated to the factory. Nothing can be done by the factory on their own. Each and every thing, like while they are creating a new factory, or in existing factory, if they are making any changes, the same has to be intimated to the government through these ways. First, I mentioned that there must be a submission of plan to the chief inspector or to the state government, and they have to get prior permission regarding their site of for the factory. That is, in which place, in which location they are going to set their factory has to be intimated to the chief inspector or to the state government, because if there is a condition like this, such kind of manufacturing has to be done only in these kind of places, and it should not be affecting the urban place, the people, or the forest. The forest should not be polluted. So there are certain norms regarding this. We have to follow all the norms. Who are willing to construct a factory, they have to follow all these norms, and the same has to be intimated. And before they are starting their manufacturing process, they have to get an approval from the government side. So this is what the site approval for, in which site they are going to locate their factory, has to be intimated to the state government. Next is, the authority must certify the nature of plan. So in what kind of plan they are submitting has to be certified by the authority. Next is, notice by the occupier must be sent to the authority. So all the plans will be sent to the occupier and not by any other person. So this occupier will be acting as a bridge between the factory management as well as this government authority. So this person will be communicating each and every changes in the factory, and if any new policy they are going to create, means the same will be intimated by this occupier to the government. So if they want to make any changes in the construction site, or if they want to implement a new unit or new machinery or whatever it is, every information has to be intimated to the state government through this occupier only. So the notice by the occupier has to be sent to the proper authority. Next is automatic approval. So for every approval process, there is certain procedure, and for the same, the government authority has to give a response within 3 months. That is, whether accepting or rejecting, whatever it is, but he has to give his response within this 3 months. If the application has been made, but for the next 3 months, if no response is there from the government side, that is from the authority side, then it is deemed to be approved. So this is called as automatic approval. Next is the next is the appeal. Next is the appeal. So appeal, in the sense refusal of the application. If any factory member, that is, if any registration application has been made, but the same has been refused by the authority, means he can make an appeal to the state government, from the authority to the state government, and further appeal can be made from the state government to the central government. So in this way, the appeal goes on. So these are all some of the basic things to know about what is an approval, licensing, and registration. Next, we look upon what is the actual procedure for making an application for a registration, and what are all the documents has to be produced, and who are all the authority So registration process, first is we have to fill a form called the application form number 2 with a prescribed document. So this is the form which they have mentioned, which they have given for the registration process. So this form has to be filled, and we have to pay the requisite fee. So how much fees has to be paid, must be paid. Next is the consent officer would be scrutinizing all the information, that is all the information like where this construction site has been located, and what is their do they have structural stability certificate, that is if it is constructed with following all the proper norms. So everything will be scrutinized, how many employees are going to work, and what is their manufacturing process, and what kind of process they are going to undertake, what kind of raw materials they will be using, and how many power they will be using. So everything will be scrutinized from top to bottom, and after scrutinizing, if they found anything to be wrong or if anything to be corrected, then they will be returning the same to the management again or to correct it and resend it. So if it is properly corrected, and after scrutinization, if the authorities found that all the informations are found to be correct and properly they have followed all the norms, in the sense, he will certificate the factory and issue a certificate and license which is duly signed by the concerned authority, competent authority, and the same will be sent through post to the factory. So this is what the registration process is. Next, we'll see what are all the documents that has to be enclosed for a registration process. First is the application form, which is very essential for every registration. Application form must be submitted. Next is the construction completion report from the management. That is, before getting the registration certificate, we have to ensure that whether the construction has been completed. That is, the whole factory has been properly constructed already. Only for such thing, they'll be given after scrutinizing or after inquiring upon everything, they'll be giving their certificate. So the construction completion report, that is, it is ready to use. We have to give a certificate saying that it is ready to use, the factory use. So next is the requisite fee has to be paid, and the next is the original copy of the structural stability certificate. So what is the structural stability certificate is that it is the construction site, that is the factory, must be in such a state which would do no harms to the workers, and it is properly constructed following all the rules and norms. So that certificate is called as the structural stability certificate. And next is the safety and health policy for the factories, which is undergoing the hazardous process. That is, the safety and health policy means it is saying that what kind of safety measures they have taken in order to protect the workers, and what is the health measures, what is their extra care measures they have taken. So everything has to be already formulated before they are registering their factory itself. So the same has to be submitted with the competent authority for this scrutinization. So these are all the documents that has to be submitted along with the registration process. So that is registration application. And the resolution of the directors or the partners nominating one to act as an occupier. So the person whom they are willing to act as an occupier has to be intimated. Next is the registration of the factories. So who are the authority? If we see, is first is the beneficiary. Who is the beneficiary of this act? Is the employees and the employers. Next is the person to be approached for the benefit. To whom we can approach for getting certain benefits under this act is the director of industrial safety and health, additional director, joint director, deputy director, and assistant director. So these are the persons to whom we can approach for getting any benefit under this act. Next is the order issuing officer. So who is the order issuing officer for the registration of the factories? Who will be issuing this order in the means the additional director for allotment of registration number to the new factory, and the joint director will be issuing the license. So this additional director will be allotting a new registration number for the factory, and this joint director will be giving a license. And the duration for this process will be 30 days will be taking place. And next is the officials to be contacted in case of grievances, director, additional director, and joint director. So these are all the persons we can approach in case if we face any grievances during this registration process. Okay. So next is procedure for the renewal of factory license. So first we have seen what is the registration process and what kind of document you have to produce for the registration of process and who are all the authority. Next we see the procedure for the renewal of factory license. So factory license is different from registration of a factory. Registration of a factory is we are getting a registration certificate that we hold a factory here, but license is not like that. We are getting a license for doing such manufacturing process for a certain period. But after the expiry of that period, we have to renew our license periodically. So for this, we have to submit the application form number 2, and we have to pay the proper fees, prescribe the fees for that. And the concerned authority would be scrutinizing all the information. If everything is found to be correct, he will be issuing the license. In case if there is any wrong or if anything has to be corrected in the sense, he will be returning it to the management again. And after getting corrected, he'll be issuing this license for them. And the approval and the renewed copy of license will be duly signed by the competent authority, and the same will be sent to the management. So this is what the procedure for renewing the factory license. And next is the document that has been required for the renewal of the factory is application form and the fees. Since we doesn't need any other thing, as we have already approved for all those things, we have got approved for all those things during the registration time itself. So these two things are enough for getting renewal of license. Next is the authorities under this renewal of licenses. Beneficiary of this act is always employees and employers. Next is the person to be approached for the benefit of the act is Director of Industrial Safety and Health, additional director, joint director, deputy director, assistant director. Next is order issuing officer would be joint director. So the person who would be issuing this renewal of licenses, joint director, and the process of this renewal will be taking place within 13 days. The official to be contacted in case of grievances is the director, additional director, or the joint director. So next we are going to see the documents that is required for this site approval, site plan approval. So if you are willing to get any approval for new site means, first we have to fill a form 1, and along with that we have to give a certificate of stability. So certificate of stability means for the structural stability, we have to construct all the site, and we have to get approval for the same. For that we have to submit this certificate of stability. And next is no objection certificate of fire. That is, it will not be easily fire accidents will not take place very easily here, and we have certain prohibitive measures. We have all these, so we have to mention all these things to get this no objection certificate of fire. And next we have to get no objection certificate from the pollution control board that this site will not be polluting the environment, so it is no pollution zone. Likewise we have to get a no objection certificate. And next is the process flow diagram, that is in what process we'll be doing our manufacturing process or whatever, we have to mention that. And next is the no objection certificate from the local authority, in which place it has been located. And from that place, a local authority will be there. So from that person, we have to get no objection certificate. And next is no objection certificate from explosive departments. And next is the building drawing copy, that is the blueprint of the site has to be produced. And next is the no objection certificate from electrical safety. Next is proof of ownership of factory. That is the building premises. For the whole premises, who is the actual owner? So that proof of ownership has to be given. And next is the memorandum of article. So memorandum of article consists of the rules and norms in which the factory will be going on, and who's the occupier and what is the major manufacturing process they are going to take place, what is their focus of production. So everything will be mentioned in this MOA. So the same has to be attached along with the site approval application form. Next is the list of directors. So how many directors are there, and all the list has to be produced, and the resolution for the declaration of occupier. So as I've already said that before registration itself, a person called the occupier must be appointed. So he will be acting as a bridge between the factory and the government. So in what resolution, which resolution that person has been appointed has to be mentioned. And next is the safety report. So what kind of safety measures have been taken place, everything has to be mentioned. And next is the on-site emergency plan. So an emergency plan in the sense in case of fire accident or whatever accident takes place, what kind of remedial measures you have, emergency plans you have, everything has to be mentioned. And next is the safety and health policy. As I've already said that for every hazardous process, we have to that is the management must formulate certain health and safety policies, which has been updated time in a periodical way. So the same, that is all the health and safety policy has to be intimated. If anything that the officer wants to change or to add, he'll be correcting this health and safety policy. Next is approval of plan. So the beneficiary of the act is the employees and the employees. The person to be approached for the benefit of this act for the approval of plan in this case, it is Director of Industrial Safety and Health, Additional Director, Joint Director, Deputy Director, Assistant Director. Orders issuing officer. So who will be giving this approval of plan is Director, Additional Director or Joint Director, and the duration is 3 months. Officials to be contacted in case of grievances is Director, Additional Director and Joint Director. Next, we see who is an occupier of the factory, which is explained under Section 2N of this Factories Act 1948. So the person who has the ultimate control over the factory is called as the occupier. So this person will be acting as a bridge between, that is a communicating bridge between the factory and the government. So each and every information or the updation in their policies or whatever it is, everything will be intimated to the state government only through this person. So this person will be sending each and every information through notice to the government. And the person who can be appointed as an occupier in a factory can be if a factory is a firm or an association of individuals, then any individual person can be appointed as an occupier. If it is a company, then any one director can be appointed as an occupier. And next is a family-owned business. If it is a family-owned business, then any independent director can be appointed as an occupier. And next is a factory which has been owned and controlled by the state or the central government or any other local authority means this occupier will be appointed by such government on their own discretion. So this is what the occupier. Next, we'll see what are the notice that he has to send to the government, and also what is his duties towards the worker as well as the government. So next is notice by occupier is explained under Section 7 of this Act, which says that every occupier must send a written notice to the Chief Inspector at least 15 days prior to his occupation in the premises. Before he occupies the premises of the factory, he has to send an notice to the Chief Inspector saying that I am the occupier and I'll be communicating further information to you. Along with this information, he has to give certain information also. We'll see one by one what are they. First thing is the name and address of the occupier. So what is his name and what way we can communicate that occupier has to be mentioned, and also who's the owner of the factory and in what way that person can be communicated has to be mentioned. And next is the manager's information. So every these three persons information has to be mentioned in the notice. And next is the name and situation of the factory, that is in which place the factory is being located and what is the address of the factory and in what way the factory management can be communicated has to be mentioned. And next is the average number of employees. So how, if the factory is already in existing for the preceding 12 months, then how many employees have been working roughly has to be mentioned in this notice. If it is a new factory, this is need not be thing need not be mentioned, but for an existing factory, average number of employees has to be mentioned. And next is, if any new manager is being appointed, means information regarding that person has to be informed as well. But if there is no manager and if the post of manager is being vacant for a certain period, means the occupier will be acting as a manager also. So he is like a deemed manager. And next is, if any manufacturing process has not been taken place in any factory for a continuous period of 180 days. So in order to resume their manufacturing process, they have to get permission from the government side. So for the same, they have to give a notice also. And next is the total horsepower which has been installed in their factory has to be mentioned. And next is the nature of manufacturing process. So what kind of manufacturing process they are going to undergo, and what installation of machinery they have been made, everything has to be mentioned. And if the factory is an existing factory, what kind of manufacturing process, what is the nature of process they have been undergoing for the past preceding 12 months has to be mentioned. If it is a new factory, in future what they'll be undergoing will be has to be mentioned in this notice. And the next is the notice must be served if the factory is a new factory, means during the time of registration they have to give all these notice. But if it is an existing factory, means within 30 days of the commencement, from the commencement of this act, they have to submit all this information to the occupier, to the government. So these are all the notice that has to be sent by the occupier, which is explained under section 7. These are all very important things. If the occupier doesn't follow any of these things, or if the notice doesn't contain any of these information, then it would be rejected by the competent authority for registration or for any other purpose. So this is the notice sent by the occupier. And next is the new duties of the occupier, which is mentioned in section 7A, which says that must ensure the health, safety and welfare of all the workers. So this is the first and foremost duty of the occupier, to ensure the health, safety and welfare of all the workers. And next is to maintain the plant machinery which would risk the health of the workers, so that every machineries has to be maintained properly. And if there is any damages, or if there is any issues, or if there is any repairs for any machinery, that has to be periodically checked by the occupier through some person. So the maintenance must be properly, that it should not lead to any accident or something. So it has to be properly maintained. Next is they have to ensure the safety. So safety in the sense that the worker must not be exposed to any danger in the manufacturing process. So every kind of in what way they have to use the machinery and how to handle them. If it is easily breakable, means how they have to handle, and how the substance has to be stored. Everything must be informed to them in a prior manner, so that the worker will be getting knowledge about what he is doing. So normally in factories, more people will be like illiterates, and they will not be having knowledge about all the substance and materials, and they may not they may not be aware of what they were doing. So if they were given instruction regarding the same, they may be handling the substance with due care. So that safety must be ensured, and the occupier must provide the information, instruction and training and proper supervision to ensure the health and safety of the workers. That everything has to be informed, and everyone must have certain awareness about that. And also the proper supervisor and experts must be supervising all the members in their workplaces. Next is the maintenance of all the place of work in the factory, and appropriate provision in the general policy, and the same must be informed to the worker through notice. That is updation of the health and safety policy, as I've mentioned before, has to be made through this occupier. So occupier will be taking initiative to change the safety and health policies, and all the change thing or the new information has to be intimated to the workers properly, so that they will be aware of safety and health policy, and they will be knowing their rights, right? So everything has to be informed by the occupier through the notice. So these are all the duties of the occupier towards the workers. So the occupier is an important person. His role is like he has the ultimate control and knowledge regarding the factory. So during the registration process and getting approval or while renewing any license, his part is he plays a major role in all these parts. And also for the say for ensuring the health and safety of the workers, his part is in major role, and he is bounded by major responsibilities towards the workers. So these are all the procedure and the document that has to be produced while we are registering or renewing or approving or getting an approval for a factory. So thank you.